got some fascinating information to share with you. It's kind of weird. Today is September 12th, 2024. That's right, September 12th, 2024. This is a specific date that is insanely crazy. And we're going to get to why that's crazy. But I was thinking about this for the past couple of days. And yesterday I was, most of you know I'm an airline pilot. But I was sitting there talking to my first officer and talking to my crew and talking to a couple other people about this phenomenon was happening. Well, yesterday was 9/11. Obviously, we all know about 9/11 and just the importance of it and how horrible things happened 23 years ago. This year, it was 23 years ago. If you're watching this in the future, obviously a different time. But anyway, for all of us who were alive back then and who witnessed it and experienced it, it was a horrific day. It was life-changing for the entire nation, for the entire world, just all of us. Well, in the aviation community, something crazy happened. The day after, babies started being born. Obviously, babies have been being born the whole time. But anyway, the crazy thing is, it's been 23 years. Well, in the airlines, in order to be a captain of an airline transport vehicle, you must be a minimum of 23 years old. Excuse me. So we have some rules, we have some regulations, things like that. More than a decade ago, the rules changed. You used to be able to be in the right seat, the first officer position, at 250 hours, but that changed. I believe it was in 2013 is when the rule went into effect that now Congress passed a bill saying we want safer skies, things like that, and now we're going to make it a minimum of 1,500 hours instead of the 250-hour rule. So that got implemented. Safer skies. We haven't, in all honesty, had any major incidents in well over a decade. And that's a good thing. But anyway, we have different rules and regulations for who can sit in the right seat. We have minimum reduced requirements. So 1,500-hour rules is for the standard person, and we'll just throw some links up here so you can see what we're talking about here. But there's a few other prerequisites that are involved. You have some nighttime, you have some cross-country, flying certain amount of distances and things like that. But 1,500-hour rules is pretty much what everybody talks about. If you have like a 4-year aeronautical degree, a 2-year aeronautical degree, if you come from the military aviation, we can reduce those numbers down to, you can enter into the airlines under a restricted aspect at 1,250. You can even bring that down to 1,000, or you can even drop that down from a military aspect. Not every military personnel, but certain ones with aviation background. You could drop that down to 750 hours, all restricted. You still have your captain sitting in the left seat, and he's or she is going to be at minimum 1,500, plus we have some other prerequisites to be in the left seat, the captain's seat. So the rules and regulations say you got to have at least 1,000 hours of PIC time. That's pilot in command time. Oh, sorry, not PIC time. 1,000 hours in the aircraft transport category. So normally when you come to the airlines, not normally, when you come to the airlines, you're going to be sitting in the right seat. You're going to be gaining time. You're going to be gaining experience in the environment of an airline. And so the FAA requires a minimum of 1,000 hours in that aircraft at the airlines, no matter whether it's a regional, major, whatever, before you can move over to the left seat or have the ability or opportunity to move over to that left seat. Well, also with the restricted of the 1,250, 1,750 hours, there's also an age requirement. I believe it's 61, 153 says you can be a minimum under those restricted categories of having a pilot in the right seat of also at the age of 21. But in order to sit in the left seat, the captain's seat, you have to be a minimum of age 23. And that's where we get into what this video is all about today, is September 12th, 2024. has been exactly 23 years ago today. So with that being said, 23 years ago today, you now have the potential of being born post 9/11, post September 11th, 2001, the day the world changed for Americans and, like I said, others around the world. Post 9/11, you can potentially have a captain in the left seat of an aircraft born post 9/11. Well, obviously not today. They're going to be sitting in that seat September 12th, but now they have the opportunity to upgrade, because you can't just on your 23rd birthday go from the right seat to the left seat. The company, the FAA, they all have provisions requiring us as pilots to go from the right seat to the left seat. We have to be, first off, the company has to offer or award an upgrade bid. So if the company is looking for captains, then those who are in the right seat, who are first officers of the aircraft, will have the opportunity via the company bid process to be able to bid up for captain upgrade. If they are awarded captain upgrade, they have the seniority, they have whatever the company prerequisites are to be able to upgrade at that point, and they're awarded it. Most of the time it's based on seniority, date of hire, things like that. But with the way the industry is, sometimes you can get in different ways, opportunities, things like that. But for the most part, it's based on your seniority in the company. It's the way most companies are. I don't think there's too many companies around that do it any other way. They just pretty much standardize it that way. So let's say you get awarded. So today a bid comes out, September 12th, 2024. They get a bid today. Now all of a sudden the bid came out and they were awarded upgrade. Now they got to wait for a class date. So they get the class date, we'll say it's a month from now, 6 weeks from now, whatever. Then they go to that class date. They sit in the class, they go through whatever ground training is required. There's some just all different types of things that they cover. They're going to go through that. That's going to take several weeks in and of itself. Then after that, then they're going to go to the flight simulators, and we have those all over the country, all over the world. Wherever one is available, they're going to get a schedule to be able to go into the flight simulator, and that's going to take several weeks to go through. And then after they get finished with the simulator, then they're going to have some tests. People are going to sign them off. They're going to make sure that in the simulator they are acting, and they're going to throw normal situations. They're going to throw some abnormal situations. They'll throw a few emergency situations to see how they handle it psychologically, just physically. And I don't mean manhandling the aircraft. I just mean physically in terms of their capabilities. Can they handle the moment? And obviously by the time you get to this point in your level of proficiency, level of training, things like that, there should be no question about being able to handle this. It's not about your girth, it's not about your size, it's just about, hey, can you be a decision maker and be able to handle it properly to keep people safe and get the aircraft on the ground safely, and all the above that we're talking about here. So now we've had probably 2.5, up to 3 months have passed now, possibly 4 months have passed since this has happened. Now they finished simulator, they've been tested, and now they are able to go fly the plane. We're not just going to hand them the keys to the plane and say, here, go have fun. Now, after they pass the simulators, and we feel that, we as the company, not me personally, but the airline feels that they're comfortable, now they're going to schedule them and put them into an actual aircraft. The person sitting in the right seat is not just going to be a random first officer, excuse me. Now they are going to be what's called a check airman. And that check airman has been trained to essentially babysit, train, go over a certain list of criteria that the company's put together, that the FAA and all the above has put together to ensure the safety of the individuals in the back, the individuals of just everywhere all around is going to be a safe environment. And so this normally takes several weeks. There's some muscle training. Normally, if you're a first officer, you're used to doing things with your right hand a certain way, with your left hand a certain way. And now that you're in the left seat, it's going to be just the opposite. So Now it's kind of going from like United States and driving on one side of the road, and now going to London and everyone drives opposite. So it takes a little bit of getting used to. So we want to make sure everybody's safe. We don't want any issues. So therefore, obviously we take some time. So this, we call it OE, IOE, initial online experience, or online experience, depending on the company. But in essence, it's making sure that they're going to be safe. This could take several weeks as well. But they're in the aircraft, and potentially they could be 23 at this point, having the person in the right seat. As I said earlier, watching over them per the company direction. They're not, it's just not a random person. It's someone who actually has been trained to this point. And then at some point, they're going to be released onto the line without once they get signed off and checked, because now somebody's going to check over them. So you're going to have the future captain, you're going to have the check airman, and then you're going to have someone in the jump seat who's going to be essentially testing the dynamics of what's going on here. So that's kind of the final thing. So you get your final evaluation from a check airman. So the big hoo-ha, I guess you could say. Keep it simple for all those lay people out there. So there's a lot of checks and balances. And then that person gets signed off. And now they could be, we'll say, about 23, maybe 4, 5, 6 months into their 23rd year, and they are now flying without somebody sitting in the jump seat watching over them, or the person in the right seat. The person in the right seat. The person in the right seat. Come on, I can't think of what I'm trying to say here. The person in the right seat, be it check airman. They're just a regular first officer. Now there is another limitation here. I keep saying but the industry is not going to, has a few more limitations. So normally it's about the first 100 hours of, and some companies are different, but normally it's the first 100 hours after finishing OE or your IOE, your initial online experience, and the check airman is no longer on board. Normally within that first hours, I keep saying but the company sets a higher standard for shooting approaches, for weather minimum, and this is all for safety because the captain is new to that seat, and for safety margins, once again. So let's say that the clouds, the ceilings are low. Let's say it's raining out and we just have not the best optimal weather. So there's going to be a higher minimum that captain can attempt to fly that aircraft in on that arrival, that approach, whatever you want to call it. I know several times companies called me, and let's say the weather is below minimums, as we say it in the industry, and we're not sure if that captain's going to be able to get in. Well, the company's not just going to delay the flight or cancel the flight. Over the years, they've called me in several times and they said, and this is a normal thing, they'll call in a more experienced pilot, more experienced captain, and they'll say, hey, we need to swap you on this pairing, this trip, this segment of the trip, because we know you have the experience. We know that you're not a high minimums captain. You're just a standardized captain, and you can shoot approach for this arrival into this airport down to a lower minimum. So they'll have me do it, or someone similar, like I said, standardized captain, and they will fly the aircraft in, get it down to wherever it needs to be. And we have different categories of minimums that we could do, but a new, fresh captain does not have that ability. That captain has to keep it higher. And I remember as a new captain, there was 1 or 2 times where I went down to minimums, and I got there and I had to do what's called go missed, because I was unable, based on the requirements and regulations that they put on me for minimums. I just was unable. The one time, the most recent one was several years ago. The ceilings were right, as we say, right at 200 feet. And my minimums for the aircraft at that time was 300 feet. So I couldn't go any lower legally than 300 feet. We got down to 300 feet and we had to go around. And on the go around, as I'm going around, we momentarily broke out of the clouds, and I saw the airport right underneath of us and was like, oh no, there's the field right there. But I could not go back and land because I knew that the ceilings, the clouds were below my minimums. So even if I attempted it again, I would still have to go missed because of where the clouds dissipated and the clear visibility began. So we had to go to our alternate, and I just couldn't get the passengers in. But if they would have had a regular captain, a standardized captain who wasn't on high minimums, then they would have been able to get in no problem and minimize delays in the system, because obviously that causes a backup if you can't get in. And you also have people at the actual airport waiting to go back or go to the next destination. So those people got in a pickle, in a jam, whatever you want to call it, and had their flight schedules disrupted. So it wasn't just the people I was trying to get to the destination, it was also the people on the next flight trying to get to where they ought to go. So there was a little bit of backup. So that's why the industry has certain things. That's why they have people in certain positions that they can move around to take care of this sort of situation. But it all gets back to the age of 23 rule. So yes, there can be someone in the left seat at the age of 23. It's pretty amazing to me. But like I said, there's a lot of rules and regulations that go into allowing that 23-year-old to be able to do it. Obviously, there's a baseline for everything, and for the airlines, 23 is the minimum for being able to sit in that left seat and be the final authority, the pilot in command of that aircraft. And that's who the company has designated for the purpose, the reason of keeping everyone safe. And so it's not just, hey, you're 23, you can go sit in that seat. But it's just kind of wild, kind of wrapping this up, that we actually are at that point in time, and all of us old people, I can consider myself old now, definitely, that we were alive back on 9/11, and now the babies that were born the day after and moving forward can now have the ability to be an airline, not pilot, but airline captain. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. See ya.